Apex movie does not begin in Australia. It begins on the face of the Troll Wall in Norway, one of the tallest vertical rock faces in Europe, and it begins with an argument. While bedding down in their cliffside portalage, Tommy calls Sasha out for her reckless approach. That's exactly why you have a climbing partner, he tells her, so that someone can make the call when one of you loses the plot. This exchange matters more than it seems in the moment. Tommy is not criticizing Sasha's skill. He is identifying something structural in how she moves through the world, an appetite for risk that occasionally tips past calculated into something that looks like self-obliteration. She knows it, she bristles at it, and she agrees, reluctantly, to turn back when the storm worsens. Then the avalanche hits. As they rappel down the mountain, an avalanche hits. Tommy is sent plummeting down the cliff, and Sasha has no choice but to release his dead weight, or she'll die with him. Eric Bana, who plays Tommy in what amounts to a substantial prologue and a handful of haunting flashbacks, brings the grounded warmth of an actor who knows exactly how much emotional scaffolding a brief role needs to hold. Cormacour noted that Eric Bana came in and created a great relationship with Charlize. He's an excellent actor, and his presence as comforting memory, as the weight Sasha released, as the compass she keeps beside her in the van, shapes every decision she makes for the next 85 minutes. 5 months later, a grieving Sasha drives alone towards Wandara National Park, Australia. A ranger warns her of a string of disappearances in that region. She keeps driving anyway. This is, on one level, the behavior of someone whose relationship with danger has been recalibrated by trauma. If the worst already happened, what exactly is she supposed to be afraid of? On another level, it is the behavior of someone who is, consciously or not, still looking for the kind of physical extremity that might drown out the internal noise. Following Tommy's lucky compass, which he believed in, Sasha is still trying to grapple with her reality. Australia was Tommy's home country. This trip is a memorial and a punishment in one. She stops at a gas station where she has a tense encounter with two hunters, who leave after a stranger intervenes. The stranger, Ben, gives Sasha directions to Grand Isle Narrows, with Sasha starting at Blackwater Bay. The gas station encounter is precisely calibrated. The hunters are overt, leering, physically imposing, obviously threatening in the way that cinema has trained us to recognize as threatening. Ben is the opposite. He is calm, helpful, deferential. He dissolves the situation without calling attention to himself. And then he offers directions. Ben offers her two choices, an easy route and a difficult one, and Sasha chooses the harder route. Of course she does. The harder route is the only choice that means anything to her. The easy route is for people who aren't carrying what she's carrying. The following morning, Sasha kayaks through the rapids and camps overnight, but wakes to find her bag missing. She stumbles across Ben's camp, where he offers her breakfast and additional supplies. He hints at knowing about her climbing past after reading online about Tommy's death and tells her he was watching her at the bay. He also admits to stealing her bag. A frightened Sasha attempts to leave. The bag theft is the first crack in Ben's helpful stranger mask, and the admission of it is itself a control mechanism. He is telling her, "I was already watching you before you knew I existed. I have been several moves ahead of you since you arrived. The friendliness was never benign, it was reconnaissance." Bringing out a stereo and a crossbow from his tent, Ben tells Sasha that she has until the end of the song to get as far away from him as possible. Then the hunt begins. This is the film's formal declaration of its genre shift from grief-driven character study to survival thriller, and it's handled with a precision that earns it. The song playing over the countdown is not incidental. It is Ben's ritual, his ceremony, the aesthetic frame he has built around what he does. The crossbow comes out of the tent with the same unhurried inevitability as everything else he does. He is not excited. He is not angry. He is working. Ben is not theatrical in his menace. He is quiet, methodical, and almost clinical, which makes him considerably more unsettling than a more aggressive antagonist would be. Egerton leans into that stillness fully, and the result is one of the more unexpected villain performances of 2026. The film's extended chase sequence is where Cormacour earns his reputation as a director of physical extremity. Running from Ben's camp, Sasha escapes on her kayak but loses it when she hits her head on a river rock. She runs through the riverbank, desperate to find help. She hears the voices of a family nearby, only to realize that Ben has placed a video recording of a family as bait to lure her. The fake family recording is the film's most psychologically unsettling beat. It is not a trap designed to kill her. It is a trap designed to make her feel the full humiliation of hope, the surge of relief at the sound of other people, followed by the understanding that even that relief was manufactured by the man hunting her. She ran toward safety and found a speaker playing a performance of it. Ben shoots at her with his crossbow. Sasha manages to dodge several shots, but one grazes her thigh, causing her to fall back into the river. Injured and disoriented, she still reaches a ravine and strategically climbs up to safety. Using her binoculars, she spots a canoe tied to the shore, but also sees Ben nearby. Unable to find her, he screeches and leaves. She attempts to steal the empty canoe, but triggers a bear trap. The trap is the end of Sasha's active resistance and the beginning of the film's most confined and claustrophobic section. Ben does not need to chase her anymore. She has walked into a mechanism he prepared. Ben takes Sasha to a nearby cave where the carcasses of many missing people are hidden. Ben reveals he is a practitioner of cannibalistic tribal rituals, claiming consuming others keeps them alive in him and intends to do the same to Sasha. The cave sequence is the film's thematic epicenter, the moment where the mystery of Ben's psychology is finally laid out and where the relationship between hunter and hunted acquires its full, disturbing complexity. As Sasha tries to free herself, quietly enduring the pain and planning her escape, Ben explains that everything is part of a ritual for him. He questions her about the troll wall and Tommy's death, saying the incident doesn't make sense to him. Inside the cave, Sasha makes a horrifying realization. Ben has been storing the bodies of the missing people she saw at the ranger station. The missing persons board she walked past on her way into the park, those faces she noted and dismissed, the warning she chose to ignore, is now surrounding her in its physical reality. The cave reveals his true intentions. He hunts for thrills, but he's also adopted a twisted affinity for consuming his prey, sometimes in the form of homemade jerky. This is the film's most queasy callback, the jerky Ben offered her at camp. The hospitality she experienced before the hunt was constructed from the remains of previous hunts. The friendliness was literal cannibalism at one remove. After learning that Ben's first victim was his mother, Sasha makes a break for it. The mother revelation is delivered in the cave and functions as the film's most pointed character note about Ben's psychology. He did not become a hunter in the wilderness and then turn it on people. He began with the person closest to him. The intimate violence that precedes the outward directed violence in almost every serial killer's biography, and then extended the ritual outward into a methodology for acquiring victims. The tribal justification, consuming others keeps them alive in him, is not derangement masking as philosophy. It is philosophy masking as derangement. Ben has built a coherent, internally consistent worldview around what he does, and that coherence is somehow more disturbing than madness would be. Using his mother's picture to distract him when he gets emotional, Sasha attacks Ben and escapes. The mother's photograph as a distraction mechanism is elegant. She uses the only crack in his composure, the residual emotional charge around the first victim, the one death that is not ritual but origin, to create the window she needs. Sasha bites Ben's ear off and manages to escape from her shackles, fleeing downriver. Ben follows, but a steep drop knocks him unconscious. While Sasha attempts to break her bonds, he regains consciousness and overpowers her. She knocks him off and fractures his leg with a rock. The river sequence is the film's most sustained set piece. Two people chained together, both at physical limits, the current indifferent to either of their survival. The current takes them downriver. Sasha is still bound and Ben uses a cable to tie them together. She manages to knock him unconscious and tries to kill him with a rock, but he wakes up. Ben almost chokes her to death in the struggle, but he hesitates, giving her a chance to attack and break his leg. The hesitation, that single moment where Ben fingers around Sasha's throat, does not complete the kill, is one of the film's most debated details. At night, Sasha recounts her guilt of letting Tommy fall and feeling responsible for his death. The film here does something structurally elegant. In the brief respite between the river fight and the film's climax, it returns to the emotional wound that started everything. The hunt has stripped away everything else. There is nothing left but the guilt. The wilderness Sasha came here to outrun has been replaced by a man who forced her to face it. In the morning, the pair decide the only way to quickly exit the canyon they are in is for Sasha to wait several days for Ben's infection from his broken leg to kill him or to do a tandem climb out. Sasha fashions a Prusik knot to help Ben up. This is the film's most structurally audacious choice, and it is also the one that has drawn the most criticism. Sasha choosing to tandem climb out of the canyon with the man who just spent 24 hours hunting her rather than waiting out his infection. The decision is not irrational. Waiting days in a canyon with a wounded cannibal with no food and limited water is genuinely risky, but it is the kind of logic that only works if you accept that the film is operating at a mythic register rather than a procedural one. Sasha cannot wait. She has to climb. The film needs her to climb. While climbing, Sasha stops at a ledge and discreetly loosens her harness. But when Ben notices and tries to pull her off, it slips off. She removes the knot holding him, and a horrified Ben falls to his death. Sasha continues the climb now without gear and reaches the summit. In the final scene of the movie, Sasha tosses Tommy's compass into the ocean. She came to Australia holding a compass that belonged to a dead man, navigating by someone else's sense of direction. She leaves standing at the ocean, holding the same compass, and throwing it in. Not in grief, not in anger, in release. The guilt she has been navigating by for 5 months goes into the water. She is finally unmoored, which is the only way she can begin to find her own direction again.